Okay. Hey guys, got my earbuds on. All right. So I'm trying to go live in 3 places: Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. But so far, I only have people on Instagram. So I'll be talking to you guys for the most part. So today is April 1st. No April Fool's jokes today. I am done with those for now. But today is the first day of National Raw Feeding Week. So I started National Raw Feeding Week, I believe in 2017, 2018. I can't remember which. And the reason why I chose the first week of April, which in hindsight, it was the dumbest week to choose ever. But as looking at the calendar and finding a space where no one else was doing celebrating some other holiday, there was that. And also, April is the month where I transitioned my dogs to a raw food diet. Hey, Ruby. And so I thought April was a good month for doing this. The bad side of this is that my day job is accounting. This is tax season. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm a corporate accountant, but I still have to get the books ready for the tax accountant. And it is the most stressful time of the year for me. So I'm not sure what in the holy hell I was thinking when I decided to start National Raw Feeding Week, where I'm going to be not only recording a ton of videos, but editing them, not my strong suit, and uploading them multiple times a day for 7 days. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, but I did, and I committed to it. So National Raw Feeding Week is just a time for us, similar to other type of, pet holidays, a time to raise awareness and to have some really great discussions. So in my experience, there are still so many people who either don't know about raw feeding or have so many misconceptions about raw feeding. And I hope that this week is a time for us to clear some of those up. Hopefully we can attract some friends to the community. If you have friends who you've been talking to about how you feed your diet, if you yourself are considering switching to raw and you have friends who are thinking the same thing, start tagging them in the video so they can join the community. Also, if you are a pet store out there and you want to join in on the fun, you can offer discounts or free treats to visitors to your store, something going on just to get people talking about Raw Feeding Week. Now, despite the name of National Raw Feeding Week, that is not what all we're going to talk about, because as I'm sure many of you know, especially if you are experienced raw feeders, it's not just diet. There are a lot of people out there, and I'm not talking about anyone specifically. It's just that it is true. There are a lot of people out there that are so passionate about how they feed their dog. And I was part of this camp myself. And we become so passionate that we really, truly think that this is it. Raw feeding or even home cooking, that is what you need to be doing. There was even a few years back arguments between people who fed raw and people who cooked, and that home cooking wasn't good because it killed all the nutrients, which of course, looking back, that makes absolutely no sense, because how are we here? We don't eat a raw food diet. And by we, I mean the humans. But to me, just seeing that Dr. Judy Morgan is a proponent of cooking, that encouraged me to learn more about that. And I'm grateful that I did, because one of my dogs recently went off of raw, and I had to start cooking for him. He's actually going back to raw, so he goes back and forth. He's my oldest dog, but you never know. You never know if you're going to get a dog in your home that's going to like raw, and what are you going to do? A lot of people don't want to go back to kibble, so the other option is to cook for your dog. So that's for another day. Let's talk about what this week is. It's mostly about us talking about how we can raise our pets naturally. It's not just about dogs, although I do write only about dogs. The two crazy cat ladies are going to join us for a day. There are a lot of people who have dogs and cats, and a lot of the stuff that we apply to our dogs, we can apply to our cats too. Not everything, but a lot of things. So, and there is a lot of information out there. And if you yourself are a pet parent who has cats and you're feeding your cats a fresh food diet, please, by all means, if people have questions, answer them. This is a time for us to come together. Don't wait for me to jump in and respond to questions. You guys should know by now, as long as you guys are being polite to each other, this is about us learning, sharing, and growing, to steal a hashtag from the Two Crazy Cat Ladies. That is what this week is all about. And if you have an experience that you can share, whether it be with me or with others, I want to see that happening. So, what I wanted to talk to you about as the verse video, there's going to be another video going live, I think at 10 o'clock, so in about 25 minutes. But as the first video of the week, I just want to give you an idea of what's going on. And that is basically, I'm going to be uploading 2 to 3 videos a day for the next 7 days. I still have about 5 videos to finish editing. And so, as I edit those, again, my Patreon supporters will get to see the videos first. You can join me over on patreon.com/keep the tail wagging. The videos are being uploaded to the private Patreon Facebook group, and it's only $1 a month, you guys. I am not trying to get rich off of Patreon or off of you guys. I just needed a private space to basically share exclusive content. And I find that when we can keep our space private, we can have just more in-depth conversations without the drama that sometimes comes with, passionate pet parents colliding in these groups. And so far, it's been a really great experience for me. And I believe it's been a great experience for my Patreon supporters. If you are a supporter, thank you so much. Please give a shout out to the group. And if you're a Patreon supporter and you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, please join it. And if you can't find the link, let me know and I'll message it to you. So now, what I want to do is I'm going to do lives here and there throughout the week where you guys can ask me any questions you want. The simple fact of the matter is we're, again, here to learn, but I can answer your questions or I can not answer your questions. I've gotten some pretty shady questions when I've done the Ask Me Anythings. And I just go ahead and pass on. And what I mean by that is, if your dog has a health issue, I'm not answering that question. I just can't. It would be irresponsible for me to do that. And people can end up harming their dogs based on my absolutely unqualified advice. But I can share my experience. So I have been feeding raw since 2008. I started writing about raw feeding in 2009. So I have close to, more than 10. No, was it 2008? Yeah, it was 2008. No, that's wrong. I started feeding raw in 2013. Good. I was like, that doesn't make any type of sense. There's no way I've been feeding raw for 10 years. 2013, I started writing about it in 2014. So I have some history behind me, not as much as a lot of other people out there. When it comes to raw feeding, I believe that every dog is unique. And every household is unique. And what I mean by that is we have dogs that have some health issues here and there. Depending upon our environment, our dogs may be struggling with things. And also depending upon our sourcing and our budget, it depends on what we can have access to. So people can have the best of intentions when they're recommending a diet for our dogs or telling us we should go down a certain path. And by that, I mean BARF model, PRAY model, NRC model, or the science model, which I always attribute to raw fed and nerdy. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what I always think of when I think of the science model. And then, there are people who are now, which I've just been recently introduced to, and we will be discussing this week, is rotational mono feeding. So there are about 4 or 5 models out there. And then, of course, raw feeders, as we're learning about how to feed our dogs, we'll take these models and we'll morph them into like a Franken Prey, a Franken Barf, a Franken RMF, and so on and so forth, because we know that we need to address our dog's individual needs. And basically, just like kibble isn't right for every dog on the planet, a raw food diet of a certain model is not right for every dog on the planet. So if you are talking to people and they're telling you this is the way you need to feed your dogs, in my opinion, they're well-meaning, but they're incorrect. Because I can tell you, I have 4 dogs in this house and all of them need a little bit of tweaking. And that is okay. It's just one thing that I always say, again, I cannot remember who told me this. Some people have guesses about where I got this information from. You are wrong. I'm pretty much sure that I got it from either Thomas Sandberg of Long Living Pets or Krista Powell of Vibrant Canine, because those are the 2 people that, if you want to know who I respect tremendously and the people that I call first, there are 4 people that I call first when I have a problem with my dogs: Krista Powell, Thomas Sandberg, Billy Hookman, Rodney Habib. Those are the 4 people. I'm sure there's probably a 5th one out there, but those are the 4 people that I am like, I believe and I trust them implicitly. And so that's why I think that either Thomas or Krista told me to feed the dog in front of me. Long story to get to my point, but so we need to focus on the dogs in front of us. And we do that by recognizing what they need, what they want, and listening to them. And that has been a consistent theme through this year's interviews. I know I have 2 interviews specifically where we talk about listening to our dogs. And it's kind of cool and fun, I think. And I think it's something that sometimes people forget to do. So I'm just going to make sure I don't miss any. Here we go. New follower here, owner of Lola's Furry Fashion company. I'm looking to change her diet. She's a small breed Chihuahua. Okay, then that's going to be exciting. I'm sorry, but I do not know how to pronounce your name. Damilola? You are going to love the interview with Destiny White because Destiny has small dogs and she talks about feeding small dogs a raw food diet. And so we go into like what the budget is, how to balance a raw food diet for small dogs, what challenges she has feeding small dogs. And she did have a Great Dane before and how one is easier than the other. And so I was actually really pleasantly surprised, but what she said made a whole lot of sense to me. And I want to make sure I don't miss any comments over here. Yes, the canine dietitian says you are crazy, and she is so right. So Lobos and Co. Mine do barf, and they both love it, but I balance over time. One dog's needs focus on joint and gut health, and my other is doing great and just needs maintenance. See, exactly. That's what I have in my house. You basically go back and forth, and then how you choose to address these things really is based on what is available in your area, what your budget is, and what your dogs specifically need, because not every food or supplement works for every single dog. Katia says, please do something on cooked in the future. I have the same problem with my own dog and have considered cooking, but concerned about the lost nutrients. Don't worry about the lost nutrients. So just really quickly, and I'm going to stop this in about 10 minutes so you guys can watch the first video, but I will be back. With my dog, what I did is I went to the store and I stocked up on grass-fed beef. My local Fred Meyer's had marked it down 50% off because they got too much and needed to get rid of it. I bought it all. I got both 80-20 and 90-10 because they had more 80-20 than 90-10. 90-10, which is the fat content, so 10% fat, 90% lean. That's preferable. But with the 80-10, what I do is I lightly cook it. I drain the fat off of it. And then I mix it with raw organs. And I take, when it's still hot, I mix in a couple of raw eggs and let the heat of the meat cook the eggs. And then I also, hey, Roddy, it's great to see you. Oh, hey, Jennifer. This is my sister's over here. I'll put her up on the screen. That's my sister. So anyway, but so I do that. And then I add in Dr. Harvey's Paradigm. You guys, if you've been following me for a long time, you know that I am a lovely, lovely, lovely fan of, I was going to say something else and lost my words, but I love Dr. Harvey's Paradigm. It makes raw feeding so much easier. Some people will say using a base mix is just lazy. I am okay with that because I don't want to spend hours figuring things out on the computer with the software, stressing out about whether or not I'm meeting my dog's nutritional needs. I started using Paradigm. Well, actually, I started with Raw Vibrance, which was their first base mix that they came out with several years ago. And I switched over to Paradigm. And the reason why is because Paradigm is more low glycemic, and having a cancer dog in the house, 13 months. And, but I prefer the low glycemic vegetables. But I started with Raw Vibrance. 6 months after I started it, I had my dog's nutrient tested with Parsley Pet, and the reports came back that I was meeting my dog's nutritional needs. Their diet was slightly low in vitamin B. I started adding a vitamin B supplement, but that year the following year, I interviewed Ronnie Lejeune of Perfectly Rawsome. And if you guys are not following Perfectly Rawsome, I'm going to tell you, go and find them on your social media and give them a follow right now. And the reason why is because out of all of the people out there that are putting out amazing content when it comes to animal nutrition, Ronnie Lejeune is really up there at the top because she has a very no nonsense way of looking at raising dogs, both with diet and with training and behavior, everything. She really has it dialed in. I would love to see her have eventually like some type of, like, you know how Dogs Naturally magazine has that university. Ronnie Lejeune should have something like that, because I would definitely sign up and pay a few $100s for a course taught by her, because she has that brain where you can ask her, hey, I want to feed this to my dog. And she can tell you, well, if you feed this, you need to add this to it because they work well together, but you need to take away this because that will avoid, feeding too much. She has that brain. There are a lot of people in the community that do that, but I've only witnessed it with her. And it's like she's some type of, genius phenom when it comes to macro and micronutrients. So definitely go and follow that if you're looking about learning about raw feeding. Again, not everything she says is going to work for your dog, but that's okay. It's not about finding a quick and easy way. I mean, if you are, you can hire her for meal formulations. You can also work with Scott Marshall, Raw Feeding 101. This week, he's offering 40% off of meal plans. So you can go and do that as well. But she does know what she's doing. So she is a really great resource to get started with. There are many more. I have a resources page on my website, keepthetailwagging.com/resources. And these are all of the various people and the information that they share that I have taken in and that has helped me, basically formulate my dog's diet. So I'm pretty sure that I was going somewhere, but I got distracted by ranting about, Perfectly Rawesome. So I lost where I was going, but I do want to wrap this up. So I'm going to see if I can find anyone. I buy most of my supplements and base from Dr. Judy Morgan. That's awesome. Thank you for supporting Dr. Morgan. She is also someone that I interviewed. We're going to be talking about food energetics. I love that topic, and I could talk to Dr. Morgan about that all day long. I mean, she is, and I hope that she updates her yin and yang book. And I hope that, hey, if you're watching this, Dr. Morgan, I know you have a lot on your plate, but far be it from me not to add more to it. But hey, a course, food energetics, a new chart with all these kind of crazy proteins. Maybe we can all submit a protein and you can add those to the chart. Not that you're not busy or anything, but just in case. Okay. So where did you mention you had the nutrients tested? Parsley Pet. That's a company here in the States. And I basically do I believe it's a cheek swab. Is it? Or is it a hair? No, it's a hair. It's a hair. It's a hair nutritional analysis. And you send it to them. You basically download everything from the website. You send it in your own envelopes and you send it to them. And I do it every other year because it is $250 per dog. I used to have a discount code, but the company was sold to new owners. So I don't know if my discount code is still in effect, but I do know that on Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, they usually knock another $50 off, making it $200 a month, which is why I test my dogs like in November, December of every other year. Parsley Pet by Dr. Kojer, I believe. It is not by Dr. Kojer. Parsley Pet is a different company. Dr. Kojer is a holistic vet that works with Parsley Pet to interpret the testing, and she is available for consultations if you want to go over the results of the test. Thank you so much for answering my comment. Awesome. I love to get the base mix that you recommend, but I'm in France, so most of the supplements you recommend aren't available. And yes, Perfectly Rawesome is incredible. Yeah, sadly, I am in the States. I cannot recommend anything in Canada or overseas because I just simply don't know. But hopefully, the fact that people are interested in these products gives a lot of entrepreneurs some good ideas, so we can start seeing these type of things crop up. But you can also, as an alternative, if you cannot do a base mix, again, you can do a meal plan. And Scott of Raw Feeding 101 offering meal plans for 40% off this week. So definitely check him out. It's rawfeeding101.com. So that is it for this morning. The first video is at 10 o'clock. And then I don't know when the second video will be. It eats up a lot of computer time when I'm uploading videos. And so I just try to do them as quickly as possible. But the first one is Billy Hookman. Yes, Billy Hookman is the first one. I actually broke his video down in two parts because we had two specific conversations. But everyone's video, I wasn't able to nicely cut them down into chunks. It sounded off at the end. So they're about 25 to 35 minutes each. And that is the limit that I have. And I'm trying to get them as shortly as possible because I know everyone's time is valuable. But that being said, please keep in mind that these videos will live on Facebook and YouTube as long as I'm on Facebook and YouTube. So it's not like you have to watch them today at the time that they go live. You can watch them at your convenience. So, okay, wait. Which organization holds Raw Feeding Week, trying to establish if it might be international? I'm the organization that hosts Raw Feeding Week. It's my idea that I came up with. So it's not international. It's Marysville, Washington. I guess, which might be international if you live in France. But there you go. I love this. Gabrielle Joy says, feeding the individual. National Raw Feeding Week. Someone's on the trail. Feeding the individuals and allowing preferences where possible is so important. Looking forward to your interviews on that subject. And so there you go. That is what we got. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope you guys enjoy the week. And if you guys have any suggestions or for interviews for next year, when it's all said and done, please let me know. And I'm sorry, one more thing. We are going to be having giveaways. So there's going to be a daily giveaway on Facebook for a new nutrient consultation with Real Dog Box. Basically, as sometime today, I will post a question and you guys will answer the question on Facebook only. I'm sorry for those of you guys who do not have Facebook, but this is just what works best for Real Dog Box, because it's hard to track all the responses on multiple social media platforms. So come over and follow Keep the Tail Wagging on Facebook, follow Real Dog Box on Facebook so you can see the questions. I will ask a question and then we will pick a winner from the audience. So I also will be giving away Canine System Saver. This is an immune boosting natural supplement that I used to give to Sydney before she passed away. I now give it to Rodrigo as my senior dog. It's good for dogs of all ages. I primarily give it to my very senior dogs. I don't give it to Scout anymore because he already gets so many supplements that now I'm saving Canine System Saver just for Rodrigo. But I honestly think that it does help him. He has allergies, he has arthritis, and he's 12 years old. So it is helping him from day to day. And so I want to give away that on a daily basis. That will be an Instagram only giveaway. And what I will do is sometime today, I will post a question on Instagram and I will pick the winner from the audience. So with the Instagram giveaway, sadly, it has to be continental US only because of shipping cost. And I'm the one that's shipping all of this out. So that is all. Bye, guys. Now you guys get to watch me as I awkwardly shut all this down.